All right, these notes are a continuation of your synthetic division notes, and it's on what is called the remainder theorem. So the type of problem that we're going to use the remainder theorem on might say find f of 6 given that f of x equals negative 4x to the third plus 29x squared minus 28x minus 8. And if you guys recall, we've done this before. This is just evaluating a function. And so what we're trying to find here is if we were to plug 6 into the function, we want to know what number we would get as a result. So that would be, we would say if I plug in 6, that'd be negative 4 times 6 to the third plus 29 times 6 squared minus 28 times 6 minus 8. And so what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pause the video and do not use a calculator, but see if you can evaluate this by hand, meaning see if you can do all this math by hand. And just a real quick hint, if you're doing this and you're using order of operations, first you need to deal with your parentheses. And in this case, your parentheses are helping you figure out where your exponents are. So first you need to deal with your exponents, then you can deal with your multiplication and division, and very last you can do your adding and subtracting. So go ahead and pause the video and then see how much of that you can do. So if you didn't pause the video, you had to sit there and watch me do it. But as you're doing this problem, you're probably noticing this is not fun. This is a difficult process to do. If we're multiplying all these things by hand, there's a lot of room to make mistakes. So what we want to do is look at a way, how could you evaluate this if you didn't have a calculator and if you wanted your answer to be accurate and you didn't want to have to work super hard for it. So this is where synthetic division comes in. So you can do this problem using synthetic division, and the number that you're looking for, that you're trying to evaluate, is the number that goes into the box. So 6 goes into the box. And then the coefficients, just like normally in synthetic division, we have to make sure that we've got our coefficients there, that we're not skipping any. So exponent of 3, 2, 1, none. So that means that the coefficients that are here are good. We didn't skip any of our exponents there. And so what the remainder theorem tells you is it says that whatever answer you get as a remainder here is exactly what you would get over here once you actually plug that number in. That's what the remainder theorem says. So if we're going to use the remainder theorem to do this synthetic division, we would drop down the negative 4 to start with. And then we would say negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. 29 minus 24 is 5. 5 times 6 is 30. Negative 28 plus 30 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 6 is not negative 2. It's like that doesn't seem right. Positive 2. Positive 2 times 6 is positive 12. and then negative 8 and 12 makes 4. So what the remainder theorem says is if you plugged this into your calculator, your answer is going to be 4. So let's go ahead and plug it in and double check. And you get 4. And that was a fairly quick process. So for our final answer, we're going to write f of 6 equals 4. So if we plug in 6, 4 is the answer we get. And the method that we used is synthetic division was the tool that we used, but this here is called the remainder theorem. So when you guys are working on the activity that I gave you, the problem we just did is actually the first problem. So you're going to say in your maze you started at the first box and 4 was your answer. And now we can go ahead and try the next problem. So the next problem says we are evaluating the problem at 2. And it says f of x is 4x squared minus 6x minus 1. So we're going to say 4, negative 6, positive 1. And I know that when I plug in 2, the answer that I get is this remainder right here. So I know that this and this are going to be the same thing. So I'll go ahead and drop down the 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 6 plus 8 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. I wrote the problem down wrong. Sorry guys. That was supposed to be a negative 1. So negative 1 plus 4 is 3. And then that means if I plug in 2, I get 3 as my answer. So if we look at our sheet, that means we're going to go ahead and this is the way we're working our way through our maze. Our next problem is to plug in negative 4 this time. And the problem we're doing is x squared plus 9x plus 26. And so I know I'm going to plug in negative 4 and get some answer there. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. 26 minus 20 is 6. So if I plug in negative 4, I get 6.